All right, let's see what we got. I guess we clocked in. Hey, what's going on, party people? Now, if this is your first time here, welcome. It's certainly a great pleasure to have you here. I go by the name of Lespri. I am a spiritual healer. And essentially, what I do as a spiritual healer is that I help you to become Christ like, Buddha like, Krishna like. And what that simply means is that I help you to attain your highest level of consciousness. So, but for you to attain your highest level of consciousness, it is pretty much empirical for you to become mentally and emotionally balanced. Because what that does is it allows you now to have the biggest state of clarity so you can attain your highest level of consciousness. For example, we all say it all the time, right? If you see someone who's being too emotional, in fact, when we say you're being too emotional, we are also acknowledging that there's a certain perspective that is right in front of you at the moment, but due to your emotional blockages or unbalanced, you're able to see the full picture. You are unable, I'm sorry, you are unable to see the full picture because you're not emotionally balanced. And that's what you see sometimes when people are saying people are falling in love. Then when you wake up, you put yourself in a different state. It's totally different. So you have to become emotionally balanced. And the same thing also goes with you being mentally balanced. Because a lot of people do to the fact that they understand that being emotionally unbalanced may lead you to certain undesired direction, right? Or result. But the same thing also goes for you being, let's just say, uh, uh, or you trying to suppress your emotions for you to be mentally balanced, thinking that being, I mean, more logical is the way to go. It is not. Because the minute you become, let's just say, too mental or too intellect, then now you become very rigid. I like to say, like, you become like Judge Dredd like. Now you're missing out on a few things that are around you. You can see, just as being emotionally unbalanced, you were unable to see a few things that were around you. Well, the same thing takes place when you're being, let's just say, mentally unbalanced too. But because you are suppressing your freaking emotions, thinking, just being intellectual or being intellect is the way to go. It's not the case. You become very rigid. You can't see the things that are in front of you because certain things, I mean, requires for you to be emotionally open for you to see them. The one example that I always talk about is when the prostitute, they brought a prostitute to Jesus, asking, what do you think we should do, whatever, whatever, whatever. But ultimately, what Jesus told them, to open up their vision was to make them to get in touch with their own emotions. Meaning, which one of you guys here, I mean, whichever one of you motherfuckers, like, who have not sinned, you throw the first stone. Because what was this was doing here, he used a little bit of emotion to open up their intellect, to give them a greater vision of what the situation is. So for you to attain your highest level of consciousness, you would have to become mentally and emotionally balanced first. Now, when we're talking about you being emotionally balanced, here's what we're talking about here. What we're truly talking about is truly you understanding your emotions, understanding your emotional, let's just say, messages, because ultimately you're dealing with energy. For you to understand, you gotta understand how you feel, man. I mean, it's yourself. You gotta understand your own feelings, and ultimately that requires for you to, to examine, to understand how your emotions work. But most importantly, I mean, for you to understand the emotional messages that is being displayed, for you to understand your emotional patterns. And then at that point, if there's any blockages, then you'll have the ability to remove them. But for you to do so, you would have to become emotionally balanced, meaning you have to be in tune and in touch with your emotions. There's no way out of it. Now, when it comes to be mentally balanced, it's pretty much the same baseline understanding here. Now, when it comes for you to understand your mind, I mean, you have to understand how your minds work. For you to have a better control over how your intellect, you got to understand how it works. You have to understand how your culture is having an impact on you. And by you becoming conscious of these things, then ultimately it's making you more aware, more conscious of your environment. And ultimately, which will lead for you to have better control of you. This is about self mastery. You knowing your true essence. You know, your culture is shaping you to think a certain way. So you have to go beyond that. You have to understand, like, just like I always tell people, you would have to learn how to be an American without being one. That means this is where you were born, but at the same time, you also understand there is more to you, so therefore you're not constrained to just one way of looking at life. So pretty much that's what it comes down to when we're talking about being mentally and emotionally balanced. And as you can tell, it's a lot of work. It requires a lot of psychological understanding. It's just a lot. It requires for you to see your essence. But the good thing is, well, that's what the work is. Because ultimately, what you're truly doing as you're doing, or as you're becoming in alignment with you, you know, as you're as you're becoming mentally and emotionally balanced, what you're truly doing is knowing, it's being in touch with your essence. And this is why that's always going to lead to your ultimate transformation. But anyway, in a nutshell, that's pretty much what I do as a spiritual healer, and that's pretty much the way that I do it. I go about doing it. Now, if you're coming back, you already know this is, come on, man, this is for you, baby. This is for you. Okay? So let's dive in. You already know. You know what I'm saying? Love is love, baby. hmm Now, as part of my routine, being a spiritual healer, spirituality is pretty much my foundation. You know, it's pretty much everything. You know, the way I got to see things, the way, you know, it's pretty much everything. So, as a result, it's only fair for me to share that with you, but also to help you to understand what spirituality is, so that way we could be on the same page, if that makes any sense. So, when we're talking about spirituality here, what are we really talking about? Truly, it comes down to you, your essence, the way you are, your psychological aspect, your physical aspect, life, everything you encountered. Ultimately, it comes down to you, how you operate. And a big part of it, too, entails, you know, a recording of what took place in the past or whatever the fuck. I mean, it's not history, but you know how, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. When we're talking about, okay, so I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. Let me slow it down, right? So that would be spirituality. Now, on the flip side of that, there's something called the occult, which is also a big part of spirituality. But what I call the occult is the practical is the manual aspect of it. It's also what I call the esoteric knowledge. Obviously, dealing with spirituality, it's helping you to know more about you. It's helping you to know your true essence. Then now, the occult now, it's the type of knowledge that is dealing that's going to help you to identify those hidden side about you. Some of the basic things, let's just say if this is your first time into the occult, some of the basics things that you will probably learn is that you have a conscious mind and you also have a subconscious mind. Now, the part where they telling you about the subconscious mind, what they're really trying to do to you is for you to acknowledge the things that you don't see. As you may know, or maybe if you don't know, the subconscious mind is under the conscious mind. Then the term sub. So this is helping you to acknowledge a deeper aspect of you. And there's so many additional things, just like healing your wounded child, doing your shadow work. All of that entails is letting you know there is a hidden part of you, there's a shadow part of you. That's why when we go see a shrink, there's a psychological aspect of you that you may not be aware of. And until you and your shadow becomes one, or you learn how to live in your shadow, because only through the shadow can you truly bring the light. Either way, it's like this is requiring, like, for you to thrive, you truly have to delve inside of you. You got to go beyond what you look like. Because it's through beyond what you look like that everything is being controlled. And that's the self-realization that the occult or spirituality is trying to bring forth for you to acknowledge. But all of that entails your regular life. It's you scratching your ass, you looking around. Yes, it's you. Now, as you start to acknowledge these things about you, then now you become spiritual. As most people would say, you become you're being born twice. Or the Christian would say you're being born again. Tomatoes, all that is referring to is just you attaining a higher level of consciousness. That's why to be Christ-like, that's exactly what that is. Buddha means to wake up. So to be Buddha-like is to be awakened. So again, all of these is reflecting, pertains to you, to your life, your personal life. How for you to develop who you are. Through meditation. Those are practical habits, like practical shit. Like meditation really help you if you know how to use it. These are not, spooky stuff. Like these are actual life, practical life enlightenment. So that's why when we're talking about spirituality, truly it is your life. It's who you are. And all you're doing in the occult now, it's the manual now that's teaching you about who you are. Another way of saying that, the occult can also be seen as what is called the esoteric knowledge. And you'll notice in all of these type of knowledge, there's always something hermetic, something hidden, something mysterious, because all of that is an indication to let you know you got to go inside. It's not the knowledge that is out in the open. In other words, this knowledge is not for face value. That's why it's an esoteric knowledge. And it's also written in such. And you must go inside for you to actually develop who you are, because this is where your development is taking place. That's why you have to embrace who you are. You have to do your shadow work for you to really thrive, for you to be the best version of you, for you to not to be triggered, or for you not to be mastered by your demon, or in other words, by your shadow self. Because a lot of people are being captivated by their own shadow. They don't even know it. Whenever you're being triggered, whenever you can't stare at yourself, or you can't take accountability, you're being slaved by you. But anyway, making a long story short, that's pretty much what the occult and spirituality is. Spirituality really, it's you. It's giving you a deeper understanding of this regular life. Even when we're talking about life in itself, what are we talking about? Are we talking about the trees? You're talking about the level of understanding that you. I mean, it's a whole lot. I mean, in other words, it's more than what it appears to be. And if that's the case, this is the life that we're going through here. This is why we also need to know the spiritual laws. And this is why the Indian call this world Maya, which means a world of illusion. It doesn't mean fake, because I see a lot of people tend to call this world fake, like it doesn't exist. No, 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 no. It does exist. You are living it. You are experiencing it. How do you say what you're experiencing is not real? It's just crazy. Mm-mm. But what it means is, even when we're looking at us on a physical level, when you're dealing with people, people are not just what they look like. That's why when you judge a book by its cover, you're trying to learn. You see, again, this is just showing you you got to see things beyond the veil. For you to truly get to know who somebody is, well, you got to know their character, their energy, who they are. Even on that basic level alone. So that's why I always like to take the time and talk about spirituality, but also help you to have a deeper understanding of it too. Because already, if you can grasp this already, man, then now you understand the mental nature or understanding of your environment. And if you do, well, first, then you will see everything is mental. No one can go. I mean, you can only go far as you can go. When you understand these things, life is what you make it. Your perspective of life. As a man thinketh, so he becomes. These are not, let's just say, theories. These are not, let's just say, ideas or conjectures or philosophies or a ways of looking at things. Nah, this is life. Your subjectivity, it's your reality. So when you understand all these things, again, a lot of us, we never understand what spirituality is, nor can we see how it is deeply in our lives, or has, I mean, shit, I mean, not even in, I mean, that's what your life is, but you can't see it that way because you were never trained to look at you that way. That's why a lot of you have, a lot of people have a misunderstanding about who they are. A lot of you are worshiping idols. In fact, I mean, that's what we're gonna be talking about tonight too, man. The idea of hell and heaven and sin it's what's putting you in it. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. Let's just summarize this real quick. So, pretty much when it comes to spirituality, that's your regular life. And this regular life, it's not, it's simple, but it's not as simple as it looks. There's a lot more deeper things to it. The wisdom that we all had to learn in life. It's almost like life is life in. It's almost like there's other stuff. Then I mean that's what I'm saying. Even for me to know who you are, I gotta see you past what you look like. And that goes for everything, for everybody. So the actual us not judging a book by its cover, this is our reality. It's all of us. It's the reality that you're living in. But anyway, again, when it comes down to it, spirituality is your regular life. Then now you have the occult, which is now the manual that would help you to understand. That would give you the knowledge for you to see beyond the veil, or it's to see past just the physical aspect of this life. Now that we got this out of the way, let's get into what we came here to talk about. And it was just crazy. Just the other day, I was just thinking, I'm like, oh no, let me talk about this. So now, I'm glad that I started off by talking about how this world is a fucking illusion. So nothing is what it seems. Now, because of that, you would need to, okay, because of that, then now, if nothing is what it seems, how do I accomplish certain things? How do I go about certain things? Lucky for you, that's where in the occult, with the esoteric knowledge, will tell you about something called spiritual laws. Spiritual laws, what that does now, is the way to navigate. It's the code. It's those keys that you need to open up certain doors. Because nothing is what it seems, then how do you go about getting or doing certain things? That's when the spiritual law comes in. One of the spiritual laws will tell you if you want to love, if you're looking for love, love yourself. Do the things that you love, and you'll find the one that loves you. That's a spiritual law. This is teaching you. Let's just say if you're looking for love, this is how you got to go about it. Otherwise, it's just gonna be all those bullshit relationship mother advices that those gurus are giving you. And yes, it's gonna be a fucking eternal debate because what you truly have is the battle between the sexes anyway. So okay, I mean, who wins? who wins? But anyway, going back, because I want you to understand the importance of knowing spiritual laws. Again, this is all connected to spirituality. This is all revealing your life. Even for two people to fall in love, each one of them separately have to believe in love. Do you understand that? It can't be like I believe in love and then this bitch don't believe in love. Nah, or vice versa. It has to be the both of us who believe in it. That's why it takes self love. And it also takes self love for me too. Let's just say if you don't believe in love, for me to see it. Because the idea of self love, so just so you guys know, it bring that awareness in you. You become conscious of those divine qualities. So now, as a result, now you seek for that in other people. As a result, you become aware now. That's why when you know yourself, you become aware of when you are either projecting yourself. I mean, you become aware of when you are projecting yourself. That's why we know we accept the whole idea, or the Buddhists are telling you the acceptance, acceptance, acceptance is part of you knowing you and accepting you. Now, as a result, you're not projecting yourself to other people. You don't become delusional. Like people who don't have the sight, that's what they do because they have not mastered yourself. That's why if you don't master yourself, you can't master shit. Another fucking spiritual law. But most dumb people, they don't master who they are, but they look to master other people. That's why they never master shit. I'm trying to get you to see the illusion and then the spiritual laws. If you don't master yourself, you ain't gonna master shit around you. I don't give a fuck. You ain't mastering shit. All you're gonna be doing is projecting, thinking you know, and then all you doing is you talking about you. That's how it goes. So I'm saying all of that to say, now you could be asking yourself, okay, I got you. I'm gonna make the connection. But first, I want you to understand the world that you're living in. Now that this is an illusion, why you have to know the spiritual laws? Because if you think you're gonna, okay, in other words, the closer you look, the more you don't see. What that means is the more you try to, that's why you have to master yourself. The more you try to master other people, trying to master your environment without mastering yourself, the more the, the more delusional you become. The more delusional you become. Because now you don't have the proper sight. And when you understand that too, then you understand for you to have the proper vision, it requires it's through those spiritual laws. It's through your inner sight, that inner understanding. That's what a vision is. Your inner understanding now allows you, with the level of understanding that you have, that is how you become the light. That's how you see things beyond the veil. But it truly depends on the level of your inner light. That's why you need to choose your inner self and build your inner strength. Anything that requires for you to be vulnerable, that's what the fuck you need. Anything that requires for you to be uncomfortable, nigga, that's what the fuck you need. Just like if you're lifting weights, for you to look all good and shit, well, it's the same approach. That's why when we're talking about even divine justice, I just had the short, check it out, where I was telling you, even Abraham. Do you notice everybody when we talk about divine justice, they had to sacrifice themselves? Abraham, like after a long time of waiting, anybody that God loved, man, was sacrificed. Do you get it? The objective now was never, that's why the result is the person you become. That's why you go through your trials and tribulations, to build your inner strength, your inner being. But anyway, so now when you understand that, then now the idea of hell and fucking heaven never really helped you. All it did, and it was created to literally to control your behavior. Because what you would really need that would help you to grow spiritually is for you to know those spiritual laws because they dealing directly with your inner being. It's the trials and tribulations that you go through. That's what's going to develop your spiritual growth. That's why you need conflict. You need the yin and the yin. That's why you have to transcend. But hell, sin, heaven, is to control your behavior. And that has nothing to do with your spiritual growth. It's more of a behavioral control type of shit. And then your reward now, you're going to get a cookie. Either you go to heaven or, you know, it's another, I mean, has nothing to do with your spiritual development. And because it has nothing to do with your behavior, with your behavioral, I mean, with your spiritual development, well, it's guess what's putting you in hell? It's that same behavior. Because there's no growth out of it. I mean, it does sound good. I mean, of course, if someone telling you not to steal, not to kill, it sounds good. But if you truly understand the science, that's why your nature, you have to become it. When you don't become anything, and that's why you got to choose yourself. And true actors, they know that shit. They know the minute they become whoever the character is, they are no longer acting. It's not acting anymore. Because they are that. And that's the purpose of them. Let's just say if they're going to play a role, well, they embody that personality. That's truly the way you work. You need to embody the Christ consciousness so you can act like him. And when you do so now, that's when you become ethical. That love that Jesus is talking about, when they tell you now, God's laws are now being written in you. It's not a fucking behavior or law that's going to tell you how to behave. That's why you'll see anybody who does this shit, I swear to you, and history have shown it, they never follow the shit. The fucking inconsistency in that kind of bullshit, it's crazy. And because they are not the knowledge, that's why you'll see guys like fucking, and I always talk about this, you'll see Bill Cosby, like how he'll tell you got to behave a certain way. Look at the type of behavior that he fucking had. Meanwhile, you have Eddie Murphy who was holding his dick, talking about dick and pussy, didn't act that way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you're asking me, I mean, yeah, the nigga got a lot of kids. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's shit. I mean, I'm not aware that he's fucking these bitches out of their. You know what I'm saying? I mean, without them unwillingly. Do you see what I'm trying to say? You know what I'm saying? Well, rape pretty much. That's what that motherfucker was doing. But yet again, America's dead. Do you understand? When it comes down to, especially when you're just behaving, you're doing it as a behavioral shit, you have not become that. There's always going to be conflict. You're always going to be tempted. That's why when you eat from the tree of good and evil, it's bullshit. It's always going to be fight. But it does sound good, just like If you're looking to control your environment, then you should control others beyond you. But it doesn't work that way now, does it? If you truly want to control your environment, you got to control yourself. Because people who don't have any control over themselves, how you going to control when shit don't go your way? And your plan's not going to be good anyway. You fell even before you started. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like stupid motherfuckers. It's almost like niggas want to beg me, like, okay, why don't you just lose, man? Yo, help me win. You want me to help you win? What was I thought you were smart. Those guys, I mean, shit. There you go then. Well, let's just see how good you are. Dumb. It doesn't work that way. That's why they tell you the people who are truly ethical, they don't talk about it. But what you'll see is it's the level of transparency that these people have. If I made a mistake, I'll let you know that I make a mistake. And why the fuck not? Do you see what I'm saying? But yet, I mean, I'm able to live that way because I'm true to me. And that becomes a way of my living. Not me telling others, okay, you need to behave this way. You need not to say nigga. And here's something else too, man. I just wanted to touch on that shit for a second. You know what I'm saying? The idea, and here's something else too, man. The idea of hell and heaven is to literally control you remotely. You are remotely being controlled. Literally. All they gotta do is just press a button. Right now, you want to see Black America going crazy? Have a cop beating on some black people, or have a white people saying nigga. You're gonna lose your mind. See, this is controlling your behavior. Because you don't have control over yourself. Me, this I don't give. Listen, and that doesn't mean I'm giving passes to nobody. I'm not giving passes. I'm not taking away passes. I'm just being me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna let nobody trigger me. How do you let somebody trigger? Now they're really controlling you. They know your weakness. That's why I always tell people, man, you don't fight negativity with fucking negativity. Do you know why? It's not because it's the right thing to do. They go low, you go high. They go high, you go low. Fuck that shit. You don't do it because it doesn't work. If you're my enemy, okay, so if white people were to call you a nigga, obviously you already know why they're saying it. You know the objective behind why they would be saying it, and you know what it means. Meaning you also agreeing with it. Are you even, is this a fight? Are you even fighting? Because if you're truly fighting, you can't do the same thing that they're doing. If you're fighting now, you should be like, when they say niggas, say, oh shit. Who you talking to? Ah, shit. Not even who you talking to. Shit. All right. So what? Do you see what I'm saying? Because a lack of self-mastery, man. And that's exactly what the whole idea of people looking to behave a certain way. there's no spiritual development. You're not even thinking from that perspective. So in other words, you don't even have a fucking intellectual development. Man, shit's crazy. Shit's crazy. This shit's crazy. So again, the whole idea here for you to be you. I mean, you're gonna have to embrace like shit, man. Anyway, you're gonna have to choose you, man, and no one else cannot be around. A big part of building your spiritual boundaries is you understanding you. You don't do it for them. Just like I was talking to a friend of mine. You know what I'm saying? You don't do like create boundaries like nah. You create the boundaries for them because they don't have any self control. So guess what? I mean, they have no boundaries. Like people who don't respect who like here's something else too. Do you want people to respect you? Respect yourself. It's not saying looking for other people validation for their respect. When you do that, you're not getting no fucking respect. It's when you suck your own dick. Yes. Yes, Didi, on that one. Suck your own. Oh, man. So, oh, man. Do your thing. I'm saying? Fuck what they. Nah, I mean, because that's the only way you will survive. And ironically, as you do that, and then you become closer to people. The reason why you've never seen, because I know for me, I have experienced that. I lived in houses where, because we were not connected emotionally, we always fall away from each other. But for all of us to connect emotionally requires for you to do N word. That's how we know we are all connected, even when you're not aware of it. But I was saying that to say, man, the whole fucking spiritual laws and illusion shit. That's why you could be close to somebody, but yet you guys are far away from each other. But the only way people who are really close to each other and then becomes closer to each other is through their emotions. I'm telling you shit that works. And how to get it done. That's why spiritual laws, you gotta know the spiritual laws. You got to, it's a must. You have to understand the mental understanding of, nature of this universe. Well, guess what? I mean, you are in it. You are part of it. You are it. So the whole behavioral shit, how to behave or hell or heaven, ultimately that's what that really comes down to. Is to control your behavior to make for you to act a certain way. Now again, controlling your behavior, there's nothing wrong with it. But the problem here is this: it has nothing to do with you. You're not spiritually. There's no spiritual development with you though. That's why it doesn't count. Do you understand what I'm saying? Whereas now, when you become the understanding, is different. Then when we talk about, let's just say the law, the seven benefit of the lost spirit, or the benefit that comes with the lost spirit. Then we talk about the law of the flesh. I mean, I can't recall if that's exactly the way they said it, but if you know what I know, or if you know a little bit about it, then it's like, I mean, I can't recall the proper terminology for it, but ultimately, they're saying, depending on how your perspective is. You see, for you to become a better version of you, you have to cultivate certain divine laws in you. You adopt the divinity, then now it brings out that divinity in you. That's how it works. That's why the smart man would know that besides dick and pussy or bread and wine, he has to feed his mind because that's where his true development is coming from. Which has nothing to do with, yes, do you need food and wine? Fuck yeah. Do you need dick and pussy? Yes. But just know, if not much more, but as much as you need that, you also need to feed your mind. If not much more than that. And to be honest, it's probably much more than that. But truly, I'm not saying that in the sense of to downplay the material world, because this is the one thing I always tell people: is this is always a mistake. You don't suppress your physical, your desires. You don't do that. You make yourself better, and then now you have the power of discernment. But you don't suppress your desires. Once you do, you suppress yourself. But having discernment and still having, I mean, you, nigga, your dick could get hard. You ain't got to go rip anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's okay for your dick to get hard. It's natural. Now, what you do with it beyond that, now that's something else. But anyway, making a long story short, guys, the idea of hell and heaven and sin is actually what's taking you to. That's what's taking you to hell. Not just the idea in terms of an idea, but the understanding, your vision of that, your understanding of that. It puts you in a box. And because you have not gone beyond that understanding, you don't even understand the box that you're in. Oh, it is a vicious cycle. I mean, you got to know for you to know. Again, that's where you got to go inside of you too. That's the only way for you to know, or to find. If you know anything, it would be revealed. Like this is where you're gonna have to go to find out. But you would have to go there though. These ideas, they never work. They sound good. Do you see what I'm saying? But in reality, in actuality, they do not work. And even the people who are, let's just say, sponsoring these things, that are backing up these things because it's a good behavior to make humanity better and all that shit, yet they're not telling you it's you got to change. If there's a certain way you have to behave, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. If anything, these motherfuckers, the inconsistency in their words and their action, you know what I'm saying? History has proven. I mean, shit. I'm not sure. What else you want me to tell you? Shit don't work. Do you see what I'm saying? Even when you listen to the Dalai Lama, you know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers are telling you about human qualities that you need to adopt. Like this nigga would tell you about compassion, certain things, not to. These are things like that are actual with your development. Now, I'm not saying that you should steal, you should kill. That's not what this is saying neither. In fact, what I'm truly saying is, I mean, you when you become the word, You wouldn't have to worry about this. I mean, your understanding of it goes beyond it. So therefore, you're never gonna be in heaven. You're never gonna be in fucking hell or sin. Even the fucking idea of sin too, man. The only sin and the true sin is when you sin against the Holy Spirit, which is your spirit. It's the moment you start to live your life based on who you should be instead of who you are. That's when you sin. Because now you're going against God, you're going against you. And you will not be able to thrive. You will not be able to be a greater version of yourself because you have no God in your life. That's how God changes your life. God changed your life by helping you to be in tune or to acknowledge greater things in you. It brings out greater things in you. And as a result, now you seek for quality as you become quality itself. And then there's understanding that comes with that. Now, when I have compassion for a motherfucker, I'm not necessarily trying to be good. I mean, it is good, and I'm being good too, but not trying. I truly fucking understand your misunderstanding. I truly understand. I could see where you stop at. So the fact is, how can I truly be mad at a stupid motherfucker? That would be me hurting myself, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's why you never fight negativity with negativity. But again, this is an ultimate truth when you know it. This is not something you fake. Oh my God, he's so nice. You forgive people. Nah, motherfucker. I do it for me. Not to please, not to be forgiven. What the fuck? In fact, there's a couple motherfuckers. I'm going to show them what forgiveness is. What it means is for me, I sleep good at night. Why would I take or feel bad for what other people did, man? That's your action. Do you see what I'm saying? If you're a fucking asshole, what that got to do with me? If anything, in due time, the truth's gonna come. Hey, the truth is the truth. Do you see what I'm saying? Like there's no fucking like, or if you're doing good for people, when you know, you know. It becomes an actual reality or actual understanding. Not a face, not a mask you put on to show people that you nah. In fact, and here's something else too. Even when you talk about Jesus, your Jesus in your Bible, he was not known because let's just say he was acting a certain way. He was known because of who he was, the word that he was talking about, what he represented. This nigga was drinking alcohol. That, in fact, his first miracle was that. Yo, Jay, I got you, baby. You're looking at the wrong shit. How the fuck is you not smoking? It's helping with your spiritual development. What that has to do with it? Now, if you don't smoke, now this is also good for your body too, to a certain level, which is good, and I congratulate you. Okay, that's good. I mean, I get it. You're doing good. Okay. Now, what that has to do with your spiritual development? Do you see what I'm saying? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But what it does do, though, it does control your fucking behavior. It gets you to act a certain way. It gets you to be on the same page with other people. And when you do that, you're not. Hey man, listen man, your path. If there's a trailblazer in front of your path, that's not your path, baby. Because your path, you're gonna be the one. Yeah, that trail, it's gonna be behind you, not in front of you. And that's why you're gonna have to move with faith, and all this shit's gonna take place. And regardless of how much you may know regarding the Bible or even what type of God, I mean, he's still gonna, hey man, it's live. I mean, the journey's not over. I mean, we just know what we know so far in terms of, how we were able to, how we become conscious and how we're also partaking in the journey. But we also know, man, like, listen, man, like, yeah, you'll never know everything to, you know what I'm saying? It's still, it has to be unfolded. I mean, you could see certain things. I know for me, I could definitely see certain things. But yet again, the beauty of it, I mean, you're still gonna have to experience it. So the understanding of hell, sin, and all that shit, truly, you guys don't truly even understand that. But what I was referring to is because of that limited understanding that you have of it, that's what's putting you in hell. Like you guys are looking to escape this life. It's almost like you came to this life for another life. Whereas the truth is, we're the one, you should bring heaven here. You don't go look for heaven, you bring it here. I'm a testimony to let you know heaven exists. Not for you to go somewhere else. Nah, for you to see the proof, to know it's here. But again, that's we're talking about your regular life here, man. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna leave it here. Always remember, listen, for you to be you, nobody else can be around. Just know if money's a bitch, you never make her a housewife. Treat her like a bitch. Always treat a bitch like a bitch and a housewife like a housewife. All right. And hey, man, listen, and also know it, if it's interesting, it can only be interesting because you interested. And this is I have this coming up next, so I'll probably post this tomorrow. Well, not this recording here, but the one that I'm talking about here, because you're gonna love this one. You're gonna love it. But anyway, we're gonna leave it here, guys. You already know it's nothing but love. You already know, Aisha.